Consider coming to Canada only if you call yourself a daredevil, because this part of the world will throw challenges at you beyond your imagination. Hello, my global friends. My name is Akanksha, and welcome back to my channel. Here, I talk about all the ways you can level up your current lifestyle to the one that you currently dream of. I have been living in Canada with my husband for over a year now, and it was time to share my honest personal review of living in this country. Stick till the end of this video because this is not just another influencer video talking about the weather, jobs, or inflation in Canada, but it's a collection of unique experiences that brings about and shares what a Canadian life is. So buckle up and get ready to listen what Canadian life can look like for you. Let's start with governance. You get a glimpse of Canadian governance right at the airport. The point of contact for all immigrants is Canadian Border Services Agency, which is CBSA. They allow people to come in on the land from all parts of the world every day and work closely in tandem with the immigrant body, IRCC. They are the ones to decide if the passengers are to be let in the country or not. Generally, if all your documents are in place, you are handed over your PR card or your work permit or tourist visa is stamped at the airport and you are free to go inside the country. However, after a crazy incident and repetitive interactions with the officials, one comes to realize they not only go by the book, but also have very detailed immigration policies in place and course of action, even for exceptional cases. Regardless, even if the case becomes exceptional because of their own laziness on account of not updating their records. We are that unique case, and I have shared all about our crazy landing experience and the entire journey of securing our PRs over the next 90 days of landing in a video, which is linked somewhere here. Let's move on to accommodation. Next thing you need to look for once you get out of the airport is roof over your head. The lucky immigrants get to go to their relatives or friends' home. Free accommodation is invaluable, and so do not take this for granted, even if it is temporary. Many immigrants now book an Airbnb, and that, in my opinion, is the absolutely right way to go about it. We too had booked an Airbnb for 30 days on our credit card from the day of our landing. The hotels here are not only super expensive, but it is the lack of hospitality and service staff will shock you. I shared this after having to book ourselves last minute at a Marriott in Toronto, and do not even think of opting for a rental unit paying upfront sitting in your home country. House hunting is difficult here. With the inflated market, plus landlords are picky with newcomers as they have no references. So if you choose a 30-day Airbnb, you can use that owner's reference to secure a lease agreement for a longer-term rental, condo or basement. Many people start off living in basement to cut costs. However, I strongly advise against it because of the lack of sunlight and already colder temperatures in there. Next, food. After roof over your head, you need food in your belly. Again, the lucky ones have a seat at the table of their friends or relatives' dining hall enjoying a relaxing meal. Again, do not take this for granted. Nothing is going to taste like your home country, not even with the same ingredients, because everything here is GMO, genetically modified. They lack nutrition, and an apple a day won't be able to keep a doctor away. In fact, it might still be a few weeks before you can buy yourself a kilo of apples after looking at their prices. Also, the produce, the grains, and everything else is available only at the supermarket or farmers markets. One might find a convenience store or a pharmacy here and there, but to get even a bunch of coriander, you gotta pump that gas and quickly get to the nearest market. In recent years, grocery delivery options have arrived even in smaller cities like Edmonton, and is also our go-to option since a few months now. Tiffin services are now widely available in most parts of Canada, thanks to businesses of immigrants. Cooking on your own is the most preferred way to eat the cleanest that you can, and also to save some money, which initially remains a challenging task, especially if you haven't cooked and managed your time along well in the past. But this challenge eases out over time as the regularity of a routine sets in. Let's move on to the most talked about thing of Canada, its weather. Well, enough has been said about Canada's weather. The harsh winters are known to all, but one can only talk, think, or imagine being in negative 40 degrees and still can't come close to the feeling of numbness and fear of dying from being cold when faced with it. Our home country now gets 50 degrees in summers, and so the human body, along with its willpower, is really tested across the world. You will experience four major climates here, and each one will make you feel that on the inside. It was my first time experiencing these weathers vividly. We arrived just as summers were setting in and enjoyed a beautiful Canadian summer, where the daylight can be well up until 10 pm. Fall truly looks scary, with bare trees lined for miles without a leaf on their branch, making way to the dreaded winter. Winters are gloomy, depressing, and days get dark at 4 pm. But after this harsh season arrives beautiful spring. As the days get longer, grass gets greener, you will also feel like waking up from the slumber. Yes, the weather has such deep physical and mental implications on us. And then arrive the fourth most beautiful and outgoing months of Canadian life. Let's talk about transport. In case of taxes, licenses, weather, and transit, consider every province of Canada as a different country as they operate under their individual jurisdictions and laws. In Toronto, public transit system provides much relief to the residents and is available round the clock. However, in province of Alberta, it is imperative that you have a vehicle of your own. Even though public buses and metro trains are available within major cities like Edmonton and Calgary, their availability is limited, and a 10 minutes car drive would take you over an hour having to change multiple buses or trains. It is difficult to get to another nearby major city without being able to drive on your own, for which you need a driver's license that not only costs you money, but money at repetitive tests, and in return of your home country driving license, in case of Alberta at least. After overcoming all these challenges, when you get on the road to drive at 100 km/h speeds, you meet with road rules that can send shivers down the spine even the best of drivers. However, if you are ever pulled over by a cop, under most circumstances, you will realize that they are unlike the ones in your home country and will be of no undue trouble causing to you. Even though the violations are penalized pretty heavily, overspeeding is one of the smaller fines with a fine of $200. The market of cars is excessively inflated at this point, and so is the insurance along with them. The second-hand market of cars is a pretty big scamming industry, so be very careful, watchful when you buy your new car or even a pre-owned car in Canada. Before I move on to reviewing the next sector, let me remind you to hit that bell icon and subscribe to the channel. Now, let's talk about one of the biggest attractive factors for immigrants: healthcare. Would you choose a free doctor's visit to stitch your punctured, bleeding hand after waiting for 6 hours in the emergency department in the middle of the night? Or receive immediate care and attention in return for some money? Would you rather wait for 6 months to a year to consult a specialist only for free? Or meet a specialist at the earliest in return for some fee? The 911 number, emergency number, that we used to see in movies works for real here in exchange of money. They will arrive within minutes of your call and their invoice later. As I said earlier, I will share real Canadian life information with you that is not available anywhere else on the internet. That is, even to avail the emergency 911 service, they will later mail you the invoice, currently priced at $250 only for calling the ambulance home, and an additional charge if it also takes you to the hospital. Also, the medicines prescribed at the free consultation will need to be purchased by you unless your employer provides with a coverage of these. However, if you suspect any illness, physical or mental, at your doctor's prescription, any of your tests or checks can be done free of cost. I shared this painfully that only 10 days ago, I had the most inhumane treatment given to me by a female doctor that I could have ever imagined of. So beware of the word free next to Canadian healthcare. Next up, to review my Canadian life as an immigrant in the first year, is banking. Let's all first come to the consensus that banking is a fraud. I'm sorry if it hurt the sentiments of some banking professionals, but what's true is true, and it's not any better here than anywhere else. As a newcomer, one finds respite from the regular charges for not maintaining the minimum balance, but not for too long. Banking system works here on credit rating. Actually, your life sort of becomes credit rating dependent in this part of the world. And so you keep taking small loans and keep repaying them in order to increase your credit score so you can take bigger loans to repay them with their bigger interests. We are yet to benefit in any way from Canadian banking, but I have hopes for the small business banking, which I shall talk about in another video. Next, I want to talk about wages and inflation. Just like Canada's weather, enough has been said about rising costs and poor wages. To give you a context, 97% of Canadians live paycheck to paycheck. The remuneration never gets enough to be able to meet the rising costs, and as immigrants, you gotta start at the bottom because you don't have the Canadian experience, which in my opinion is a way to make an immigrant earn their worth well after they've proven themselves to be quite the best from their respective countries. That is, in order to merge well in Canadian culture and also by the side take more enrollments as immigrants into their universities to come at par with the Canadian educational standards. I hope you're finding these nuggets of experiences so valuable that you are able to decide for yourself if you would want to come to Canada or stay back in your own home country. Now let's talk about social and cultural amalgamation. This is a land of immigrants and undeniably becomes the melting pot of culture and food. It takes a while for the newcomers to find and feel familiarity and to build new bonds. Yet, you will find your own community, your tribe for cultural purposes, but the feeling of home generally remains elusive to most. As we are coming to the end of this video, one of the things that I want to talk about that is very important to me is a sense of safety, which I feel has been extremely lacking in many provinces of this country. It could be a downtown Toronto or a downtown Edmonton or a downtown Calgary or a downtown Vancouver. The sense of safety over here is so missing, which I as a Mumbaiker have never felt in the past. For people who are moving from really safe cities from any part of the world, Asia, Southeast Asia, Middle East countries, or any other country where your city is extremely safe, where as a woman you could be out about and partying even till midnight, late night, driving alone, moving out and about easily and freely. This would be a real sense of concern when you get to Canada. Even during the summer days, when there's daylight up until 10 p.m., one would be shy to be outside past 10:30, and on colder nights when it gets dark around 4 p.m., one would want to come back home at the earliest. Downtowns of all provinces are infamous for their notorious activities. Now, towards the end, I would like to touch upon a few topics. When you get here, you realize you have come very far from home, and it is going to take a while for you to even make your first trip back at home and then consequent trips. Meeting your family is going to become even more rare and infrequent because of the hustle and bustle of the demanding city life here, of the extremely expensive ticket prices, and the costs that you have to bear while you are gone from here temporarily. Everything adds up to becoming a reason for you to keep delaying your visit home. And that's when you realize you really quite have come very far, probably even halfway across the world from your home, from your family. So, if you do decide to take this leap of faith, bring with yourself immense courage, resilience, and prayers of your family. Leave your past accolades and failures behind and get ready to be born again. As for us, we're just getting started, honey. Thank you for watching this video till the end. If you have found this valuable, do hit that like button, share this, and subscribe to the channel so whenever I hit a new video, you are notified. I want to sincerely help you in raising your current lifestyle to the one you currently dream of by helping you make more effective decisions and less mistakes. Keep dreaming, and as always, be the best you.